Can Lutherans be counted on to deliver a good, hard-hitting sermon? Hi, my name is Ted Rosenblatt, and I'm here with my father, Dr. Rod Rosenblatt, and this is Talks with Dad Rod. Dad, I like a good, hard-hitting sermon. Something that really just, hits you in the solar plexus, and sometimes you're in tears, sometimes you're elated.
Probably not.
Like ever?
Our calling as Lutheran pastors is to well preach the law and to well preach Christ in his dying. Many times the assertion is so vague, I don't know what it means. He got to my emotions this morning? With what? Sometimes I think it means he made me guilty, and that's unusual to me. I even cried a little. Well, why? Well, he condemned me from the scriptures. And I say, and did he ever give you anything else other than that? I used to say to my students at Westmont, I'm going to say something that doesn't make any sense to you, but think about it. Christians need to hear the gospel preached to them every single Sunday. And then they all furrowed their brows, like, why? The gospel's already done its work. We need marching orders.
Post-conversion. At this point, we got things to do.
Right. So we aren't called upon to preach hard-hitting sermons, but to do well what our calling really is. Preach the law well, preach Christ well, and that's it. Do that from the text. Then do it next week from whatever your text is, and do that every Sunday, and that's what your calling is. You have no control over the hearer's emotions, whatever, or you do in a bad way. No, but lay out the law strongly, and lay out the gospel strongly and well, and you've done your job.
There have been a few instances in my life where I've gone to a church and heard what I would suppose in other denominations they would call a hard-hitting sermon. I even saw an excommunication once. That was mind-blowing. I never came with a friend to visit the church and sat down, and they went, and I was like, this can't be normal here, is it?
Yeah.
But It was, having heard some sermons like that, it was, from our Lutheran perspective, it was all law. And behavior, right? It was all, for our perspective, get to work and do things in your faith is law. That is not somebody doing something for me and rescuing me. That is get to work.
Yep.
And so, and I was growing up under you, I've been used to the Lutheran paradigm of law and gospel, and it's fairly, I'm just immersed in it, so it's not a thing. But I went to that and went, whew, man, that was tough. That was rigorous, and it gave me a sense of what people are used to hearing in too many other places, at least here in the United States. I won't speak for outside, but I saw some of that here. And it was something to behold. And I came out of there going, so that's what it's like when Jesus is absent.
Yeah, right. One of the ways. Yep.
And it's not that his name wasn't spoken.
Yeah. Yeah, you can use him as an example and then contrast you with him, but that's not preaching the gospel.
Yeah, we keep doing this. What is the gospel?
Yeah, the gospel is 1 Corinthians 15, first 10 verses, where Paul says the gospel is what I delivered to you in the first place, Christ dying for you, Christ dying for sinners.
You, Christian.
Yeah.
Me, Christian.
Right.
You, Christian.
Right.
Also unbelievers, but, that they may come and believe in him and be saved.
Yep.
But.
Yep.
That when
there are many people. We found out this with the White Horse Inn, with Shane taking audio interviews, and it was at a Christian leaders meeting, and he cornered a few people and asked them what the gospel was, and it was all law.
Yeah,
those were Christian leaders,
and we actually as sinners we need Jesus, like the the leper.
Yeah.
Who's coming and you just are you're dragging your butt, literally.
Yeah.
You're dragging your body parts in there.
Yeah.
Just hoping for some good news that there is that you're looking for Jesus to give you this just as much as the lepers. These people needed physical healing.
Right.
There's no difference.
Yeah. A Lutheran pastor is called on to deliver that gospel every single Sunday to every single hearer.
Now, see, from my perspective, given, how God has informed me of my sin through the law, that's hard hitting for me.
Yeah.
I see it differently. The paradigm for me is often I've found switched.
Yeah.
So hard hitting for me is receiving something that I don't deserve.
Yep.
Not what I do.
Yep.
I deserve to work. I deserve to earn my way out of my hole.
Or to fail.
I deserve the condemnation I would receive under the law because I didn't do it perfectly.
Yep. Yep.
So what hits me hard is that in spite of deserving eternal hell and condemnation, I've sinned against you in thought, word, and deed.
Yep.
By what I've done and by what I've left undone.
Yeah, the Lutheran service begins by everybody saying that in unison. Everybody out loud confesses that I've sinned in thought, word, and deed. I deserve your condemnation.
And as a kid, I just kind of just said it. It was just kind of there, and I said it over and over. It's, I've said it so many times. And as I've gotten older, it gets harder for me to do that without losing it.
Yep. Yep.
The weight is heavy.
Yeah, and if the pastor's doing his job, he's going to preach that gospel to you that has to do with being rescued when you aren't qualified to be rescued at all.
And I literally walk out forgiven.
Yep.
All the sins taken off of me.
Yep.
Literally.
And
Actually.
And the supper, same thing's going to repeat. Eat this, drink this, for you, for the forgiveness of sin.
And then you did the one where you fiddled with the good word at the end, the benediction. Go in peace, you've been served by the Lord.
Yeah.
Now you weren't given you would not do another to-do list even there.
Right.
Right. Go and serve the Lord. You immediately flip that. Go in peace, you've been served.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
So we'll cut it. Hope that I'm expecting that's going to make a lot of sense to a lot of you. We get this a lot. This is something we come at this from a bunch of different angles repeatedly because it's it's just a hot topic in some way, shape, or form. Hope you like it. Come to 1517.org for more. Catch us on social media, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you for joining us on Talks with Dad Rod, part of the 1517 Podcast Network. This podcast and all 1517's content is made possible through financial support by listeners just like you. Please visit 1517.org for more, and please consider clicking on the donate button and making a recurring or one-time contribution to help us share this good news in a world which so desperately needs it.